Morning, children. Today we are going to learn EVS 2, lesson number 7, from shelters to village settlements. In this lesson, we will learn about shelters, seasonal camps, and village settlements. Children, we have already learned about Neanderthals in Evolution of Man, lesson number 5. The Neanderthals primarily lived in caves. We have also studied that Neanderthals migrated in Europe as the temperature, that is, the climate in Europe was very cold. It was freezing temperature. So they wore leather clothing and made use of fire to keep themselves warm. Neanderthals also used animal hides. What are hides, children? The skin of the animal. So they used animal hides to erect tents inside the caves for warmth. Later, they started living in huts. They built huts in the open wherever it was necessary. Seasonal camps. In the Mesolithic age, that is, Middle Stone Age, groups of Homo sapiens had established camps all over the world. At that time, the climate was getting warmer. Everywhere, the environment was changing, and thus the diet, that is, the food habits of Homo sapiens, was also undergoing change. By the time of the Middle Age, the big animals like mammoth were on the way to extinction. Extinction means no longer in existence. And children, why big animals were extinct? Can you think about it? Yes, children. It's just because of change in environment and also because they were hunted on a very large scale. That is why Homo sapiens had largely turned to fishing. He also began to depend more on hunting smaller animals like wild boar, deer, mountain goats, and sheep. The changed diet pattern enabled the groups of Homo sapiens to roam to far away regions. As they moved from one place to another, they also moved their camps to different places according to the seasons. There, Homo sapiens started harvesting seasonal wild grains and gathered seasonal fruits and roots available in their surroundings. Homo sapiens would also find out the best seasons for fishing. By observing their environment, Homo sapiens used their knowledge to discover the best hunting grounds for themselves. As they started living in one place for a longer period of time. They cleared the jungles by cutting trees and setting their seasonal camps in the clearings, in that open space. Staying in one place for a longer period of time, it gave rise to village settlements. The life of Neolithic Stone Age was completely different from that of humans in a Paleolithic and Mesolithic age. During this period, humans became producer of food grains. The beginning of cultivation is a characteristic of the culture of the Neolithic age. The New Stone Age man thus started doing agricultural work, which made them possible to store food and use it for a longer period of time. And thus there was no need for them to move from one place to another in search of food. Thus, agricultural work made it necessary to stay in one place, and New Stone Age man established permanent village settlement and lived in them generation after generation. So, children, what have we learned? The climate was extremely freezing cold during the Stone Age. The climate became warm during the Middle Stone Age. The climate became warmer at the time of New Stone Age, which changed the life of humans. They became the producer of food grains by cultivating land, and which gave rise to village settlement.
They were one of the most successful human species ever. For 250,000 years, they dominated Europe, a continent ravaged by ice ages and stalked by wild animals. Then, 35,000 years ago, they faced the ultimate challenge: the arrival of another human species. This is the story of the last time two different species of human shared this planet. Only one of them would survive. It's first light. The daily routine has already begun. The hunters are a formidable team. Their kill will provide food and much more besides. A place to live. 1,000 miles away, an ice sheet grips northern Europe, bringing polar conditions to much of the continent. Herds of woolly mammoth roam the windswept grassland. The forests offer refuge for bison and red deer. And limestone caves provide shelter for the people of this valley. These are the Neanderthals, the first human species to adapt to this harsh and frozen continent. Their lives are among the toughest ever endured by human beings, but they are well equipped for survival here. Protection from the freezing cold comes from animal skins cleaned and worn as clothing. To prepare the skin, the mother first scrapes off fat and sinew with a sharp flint blade. This cave is the center of their world. Within its walls, they sleep, eat, butcher meat, and even defecate. Now know, they were a strong, intelligent, and highly adapted species. Two generations divide the old man and the young boy, but they have one thing in common. In this harsh climate, they are the most vulnerable. His physical skills are advanced. It's just as well. In an environment like this, you either grow up quickly or you die. He's 43 years old, but injury and exertion have broken his body, hastening old age. Already he's living on borrowed time. 4 out of 5 Neanderthals never get to see their 40th birthday. For the old, there are few concessions in this brutal world. Neanderthals are a territorial species. This clan's territory is around 27 square miles, the range of an average day's hunt. Some distance from the cave, the clan's 3 brothers have picked up the scent of prey. The oldest brother is the leader, the strongest and most experienced. He orchestrates the hunt. But also much harder to catch. Bones and artifacts have been found as far south as Israel. Germany. The hunt has not been successful. Darkness has fallen and the men are stranded on the edge of their territory. If they are to survive a night away from their cave, they must make a fire. Neanderthals were not the first to use fire. It had been known to humans for over 500,000 years. Fire provides warmth, of course, but in the open, fire is also their main means of protection. Leopards and wolves, cave lions and bears stalk this part of France. Early next morning, the hunt begins again. This time their target is neither deer nor bison. The men return to the cave after 3 days hunting.
Aquí, este chaval.
For years, many scientists believed that Neanderthals did not possess language.
Mama, give me.
They assumed that, like other primates, they communicated using only gestures and calls. Almost all the adult fossils discovered so far reveal some kind of serious injury. Wild animals provide one threat. The treacherous landscape provides another. This interdependence has helped the Neanderthals to master their environment. In the last few thousand years, a new species has arrived here. For the first time, these Neanderthals are not alone. The men have returned to the hunt. Driving the deer over a cliff makes it less likely that the men will injure themselves.
Yummy. Brakta Mahdi.
To our eyes, their faces may look ugly, but they are a triumph of evolutionary adaptation.
Jeder.
Now, the Neanderthals face a threat for which evolution has not prepared them. Physically, these strangers are not so well adapted to the bitter climate, but they have other advantages. They've evolved new ways of living together and new ways of thinking. They are Homo sapiens, known in Europe as the Cro-Magnons. They're distantly related to the Neanderthals. Meanwhile, in subtropical Africa, a warm-adapted species evolved. The Cro-Magnons arrived in southern France. These fertile river valleys in the south of France are perfect, except for one thing. This is the stronghold of the Neanderthals. The fresh kill is a welcome sight. With carnivores like wolves. No part of this animal will be wasted. The skin will be worked to make clothing. Sinew will be dried and used as rope. Suddenly, two human species stand face to face. He's a new species of humanity. A Homo sapien, known in Europe as a Cro-Magnon. We can't know exactly how Neanderthals reacted to their first sight of Cro-Magnons. The Neanderthal toolkit consisted of around 6 types of tool, all geared to more specific tasks than those of earlier humans. Hand axes, shaped to fit snugly in the palm of a hand, acted as a multi-purpose tool used to crush bones and cut wood. Side scrapers were used to prepare and soften animal skins. Triangular points were used as knives or could be hafted to make tips for spears. The Levallois blade was their greatest technological achievement. Some had cutting edges just 1 molecule thick, 5 times sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. Within the clan, tool-making skills and knowledge are passed down from one generation to the next, and sinew to bind it. It's a sophisticated weapon capable of lacerating the thickest hide, but it's too heavy to throw very far. Neanderthal tool-making techniques began to change. As well as stone, they started to use antler, bone, and even teeth. For the first time, they began to make not just tools, but decorative items like jewelry. The Cro-Magnons possessed a weapon more powerful than anything the Neanderthals had devised. A brain which, while no bigger than a Neanderthal's brain, was capable of new ways of thinking. That in some parts of Europe, the two species did coexist, apparently peacefully, for many generations. One of the last parts of Europe to be colonized, these fertile valleys were worth fighting for.
Malcolm!
With their leader dead, the dominant role now falls to his younger brother, or to leave behind the center of the only world they've ever known.
Go Ange.
Bered, not 6 sekund.
Becky.
The Cro-Magnons take over the deserted cave. They'll use it as a temporary settlement until the rest of their group arrives. The fossil record shows that Cro-Magnons took over Neanderthal sites and made them their own. Now modern man has arrived. For the Neanderthals, there is no way back. Physically, the Cro-Magnons are less well adapted for life in this cold climate. But they've developed tools that allow them to live anywhere they choose. Harpoons to kill fish when supplies of red meat dwindle. Needles made of bone to tailor clothes.
Even gang guy.
But their most powerful tool is language.
Okay. Cool.
Unlike the Neanderthals, the language of the Cro-Magnons is rich and more complex. It's the trigger for art and culture. It allows individuals to form much larger social groups and to trade goods and form alliances in times of need. There may, however, be one final twist to this evolutionary tale. Physically and culturally, the Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons were worlds apart. Two separate species. But both human and motivated by the same needs and desires. Coasts of southern Spain and Croatia, the last Neanderthals died, leaving only one human species, Homo sapiens, to inherit the Earth.
So children, we end our lesson here. Thank you for listening to my presentation and hope you have learned a lot from my presentation. Thank you once again. Children, stay at home, stay safe, eat healthy food, and keep always smiling. Children, don't forget to read the lesson aloud and clear. Thank you.